Welcome to our channel. Today, we pause to remember a life that touched hearts and left a lasting impact. We'll explore their journey, the challenges they faced, and the moments that made them unforgettable. Join us as we honor their story, celebrate their legacy, and reflect on the memories that will continue to inspire and live on in the hearts of those who knew them. Tragic news was confirmed on February 10, 2026. In Maryland, where the sound of hooves has long echoed across quiet mourning tracks, King Taylor Leatherbury passed away at the age of 92. The racetrack felt different that day. Slower. Quieter. As if the sport itself had paused to reflect. For decades, Leatherbury stood as one of the most respected figures in American horse racing. Ranked fifth all-time in wins among U.S. trainers, his name became part of the foundation of the sport. To many, he was not just successful. He was steady. Dependable. A man who understood that greatness begins before sunrise. Born on March 26, 1933, Leatherbury grew up in a world where racing was more than competition. It was discipline. It was routine. It was trust between horse and trainer. He built his career step by step, long before national attention ever followed. By the 1960s and 1970s, he had become one of Maryland racing's Big Four. Alongside John J. Tomorrow Jr., Richard E. Dutro Sr., and Hall of Fame trainer Bud Delp, Leatherbury helped define an era. They dominated local tracks. They modernized training methods. And they turned Maryland into a respected force in flat racing. But even as wins piled up, Leatherbury remained calm. He was known for his quiet focus in the barn. For the way he watched a horse move before making any decision. He believed patience was part of the craft. Churchill Downs once described him as a Maryland racing legend. Those words carried weight. Not only because of his victories, but because of how he earned them. Over the course of his career, Leatherbury trained thousands of winners. His statistics were impressive. His ranking among the top 5 trainers in American history placed him among giants. Yet those who worked beside him say it was his character that truly set him apart. He never rushed a horse, one longtime assistant trainer shared. He listened. He respected the animal. That's why they ran for him. Owners trusted him. Jockeys respected him. Young trainers studied him. In an industry where pressure is constant and patience is rare, Leatherbury became a model of steady leadership. As news of his passing spread, tributes came quickly. Churchill Downs released a statement calling him a cornerstone of Maryland racing whose impact will be felt for generations. Fellow trainers spoke about his work ethic. Fans remembered the thrill of watching his horses surge down the stretch. One former jockey wrote, "Mr. Leatherbury taught me that preparation is everything." He believed the race is won before the gate even opens. Behind the records and statistics was a man devoted to routine. Early mornings. Careful notes. Long conversations in the stable. He believed the small details mattered. And over time, those details built a career that few could match. His influence extended beyond trophies. He helped modernize training practices during a changing era in racing. He embraced new methods while honoring tradition. That balance helped carry Maryland racing into a new generation. For many in the racing world, Leatherbury represented stability. Through decades of change, controversy, and competition, he remained constant. Calm in victory. Composed in defeat. In his later years, he became a living link to racing's golden era. Young trainers often approached him for advice. He rarely spoke loudly. But when he did, people listened. King Leatherbury showed us that integrity still wins, one racing official said. His legacy is not just in numbers. It's in the way he carried himself. On the tracks of Maryland, the memory of his horses will remain. The early morning mist. The sound of hooves warming up. The quiet figure watching from the rail. King Taylor Leatherbury helped shape American horse racing with discipline, patience, and heart. His name will stay etched in record books. But more importantly, it will stay in the stories told inside barns and along the rail. He leaves behind a sport stronger than he found it. And in every young trainer who chooses patience over pressure and respect over haste, his spirit continues to run. In the quiet hills of Iowa, where gravel roads stretch between open fields, the music feels closer to the ground. It was there that Gregory Dane Brown found his voice. And this week, tragic news confirmed that the gentle storyteller of the Midwest has passed away, leaving behind songs that feel like handwritten letters from another time. Gregory Dane Brown never chased bright lights or large stages. He did not measure success in fame. Instead, he measured it in honesty. In the way a lyric could carry both doubt and faith in the same breath. Born and raised in Iowa's hill country, Brown grew up surrounded by farmland, church hymns, and long winters. Those early years shaped his writing. His songs spoke of small towns, family struggles, broken hearts, and simple joys. They were not loud. They were true. As a folk musician, he became known for turning ordinary life into poetry. A cup of coffee on a cold morning. A drive down an empty road. A quiet prayer whispered in the dark. These were his themes. His voice carried warmth. It was rough at times, but steady. Listeners often said it felt like sitting across from an old friend. Over the years, Brown built a loyal following. He performed in small venues and larger festivals, always with the same calm presence. Guitar in hand. Eyes half closed. Focused not on applause, but on connection. He sang like he was telling you a secret, one longtime fan wrote online. You felt seen when you heard his songs. Though he never sought the spotlight, the music world respected him deeply. Younger folk artists often named him as an influence. They admired his courage to write about faith without preaching. To speak of doubt without shame. A fellow musician once said, "Gregory showed us that faith and questions can live in the same song. That honesty is stronger than perfection." His lyrics often explored spiritual themes. But they were never rigid. He allowed space for struggle. For uncertainty. That balance made his work feel human. Through decades of songwriting, Brown remained rooted in Iowa. He did not move to major music cities. He stayed close to the land that shaped him. The rolling hills. The river towns. The slow rhythm of rural life. When news of his passing spread, tributes came quietly, much like the man himself. Fellow artists shared clips of his performances. Fans posted favorite lyrics. Many spoke about how his music carried them through difficult seasons. His family released a brief statement, saying, "Gregory believed that songs should tell the truth." He was grateful for every listener who found comfort in his words. Brown's career was not built on headlines. It was built on consistency. Album after album, he returned to the same core ideas. Love. Grace. Loss. Hope. And the beauty hidden in simple places. Even as music trends changed, he stayed steady. Acoustic guitar. Clear storytelling. No rush. In a world that often moves too fast, Gregory Dane Brown offered something different. He invited people to slow down. To listen closely. To notice the small details of their own lives. His concerts often ended the same way. A soft final chord. A quiet thank you. No dramatic exit. Just gratitude. Now, the roads he once sang about feel a little more silent. But his songs remain. They still echo through speakers in farmhouses and city apartments alike. Gregory Dane Brown proved that greatness does not need noise. It does not need bright lights. Sometimes, it lives in quiet rooms and steady voices. And in the gentle strum of an acoustic guitar, in the honest words that speak of both faith and doubt, his spirit will continue to travel those quiet roads, forever remembered and forever heard. Under the bright lights of a packed stadium, there are moments when everything slows down. A runner stands on first base. The crowd holds its breath. One pitch can change a season. In those fragile seconds, teams often turn to Terrence Gore. News of his passing has brought a quiet sadness to the baseball world. Though he was rarely the headline, his impact was real. And for many fans, unforgettable. Terrence Gore built his major league career on speed. Not power. Not towering home runs. But speed that could shift the balance of a game in an instant. Born with natural quickness and sharp instincts, Gore worked his way through the minor leagues with determination. He understood his role early. He would not always start. He would not always bat. But when called, he had to be ready. Managers trusted him in the most delicate moments. Late innings. Close scores. Postseason pressure. He entered games as a pinch runner, often with everything on the line. A former teammate once said, "When Terrence took off from first base, you could feel the energy change." The defense felt it too. His career included postseason appearances and championship moments. Though his time on the field was sometimes brief, it was powerful. A stolen base. A dash home. A slide across the plate that shifted momentum. He prepared in silence. While others took batting practice, Gore studied pitchers. He watched their timing. Their habits. He trained his body to react in a fraction of a second. He was always ready, one coach shared. Even if he hadn't played all week, he prepared like he was starting every night. Gore's path in baseball was not traditional. Many players dream of daily at-bats and long highlight reels. Gore embraced a different kind of greatness. One built on trust. He understood that being a specialist required humility. He had to stay sharp without constant recognition. He had to accept that some of his biggest contributions would be remembered only by true fans of the game. As news of his death spread, tributes came from across the league. Teammates posted photos of stolen bases and postseason celebrations. Fans recalled the thrill of seeing him take off toward second base. One former manager wrote, "Terrence Gore changed games with his courage and focus." He proved that every role matters. Beyond statistics, Gore represented preparation. He showed young athletes that success is not always loud. Sometimes it comes in brief, powerful bursts. He carried himself with quiet confidence. Never demanding attention. Never seeking credit beyond his role. His work spoke for him. In the clubhouse, he was known as steady and respectful. Younger players looked to him as an example of discipline. Veterans admired his mindset. In a sport where stars often shine brightest, Terrence Gore reminded the world that championships are won by teams. By every player who steps forward when called. Now, stadium lights will shine without him. The late-inning tension will still build. Runners will still take their leads off first base. But for many, there will always be a memory of number 0 standing ready. Waiting for the signal. Knowing that one burst of speed could decide everything. Terrence Gore showed that greatness can live on the margins. In the quiet preparation. in the unseen sacrifice. And in every stolen base that shifts a game's destiny, his legacy will continue to run, fast, fearless, and forever remembered. In the quiet glow of an old black and white screen, her face once told stories without a single word. Then, when cinema found its voice, hers was among the first to rise with it. This week, tragic news confirmed the passing of Anne Harding, a woman whose presence helped guide Hollywood through one of its most fragile transitions. Anne Harding stood at the crossroads of silence and sound. At a time when many stars of the silent era faded, she endured. Not because of spectacle, but because of substance. Born and trained on the Broadway stage, Harding carried with her a deep respect for craft. Theater taught her control. It taught her timing. And most importantly, it gave her a voice that could carry emotion with clarity and grace. When motion pictures began to speak in the late 1920s, the industry changed overnight. Some performers struggled to adapt. But Harding's stage experience prepared her for this new era. Her voice was calm, measured, warm. Audiences did not just hear her. They felt her. A film historian once wrote, and Harding proved that the talking picture could still be intimate. She did not lose the softness of silent film. She added depth to it. Throughout the early years of sound cinema, Harding took on roles that required emotional honesty. She portrayed women facing moral choices, family struggles, and quiet heartbreak. Her performances were never loud. They were grounded. Directors valued her discipline. Co-stars respected her focus. On set, she was known for arriving prepared, with every line understood and every pause intentional. She carried herself with dignity, one former colleague once shared. She believed acting was not about being seen, but about being understood. Her work earned praise from critics and audiences alike. She received award recognition during a time when the industry itself was still finding its footing. Yet fame never seemed to define her. As Hollywood evolved, so did Harding. She balanced stage and screen, always returning to the theater that first shaped her. In interviews, she often spoke about the importance of story over celebrity. When news of her passing spread, film lovers reflected on her quiet influence. Social media tributes described her as a bridge between eras and a reminder that real emotion never goes out of style. Her family shared a simple message and believed in honest work. She loved the stage, the screen, and the people who shared those spaces with her. Though decades have passed since the golden age of early Hollywood, Harding's contribution remains part of film history. She helped prove that technology alone does not move an audience. Humanity does. In an age of rapid change, she offered steadiness. In a world discovering amplified sound, she preserved emotional truth. Today, as modern films stream in color and surround sound, the early voices of cinema still echo. Among them is Anne Harding's, clear, poised, and deeply human. She helped teach the screen how to speak. And in doing so, she ensured that even as movies found their voices, they would never lose their heart. Her legacy lives on in every performance that chooses sincerity over spectacle. And in the soft flicker of classic film, her voice continues to be heard, timeless, graceful, and forever remembered.